Hi, Rajas.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi, Aditya. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Sorry for the making you come on a little earlier.
Oh, that's fine. That's completely fine.
Uh,
I'll just increase the volume.
yeah.
I'm not able to hear you
You
properly.
can hear me? Okay. So while you set up and share your screen, I'm just going to do a quick introduction of who you are and what you're talking about. So we
Okay.
have with us today Mr. Rajas Mingal. He is one of our foremost cybersecurity lawyers and cyber experts on cyber law in India. So he's going to be talking about the future of cybersecurity while working from home. Now, a little bit about Rajas. So Rajas is an international cyber law expert and practicing advocate slash partner at NetLogic Legal Services. He has hands-on experience on cases like unauthorized copying of data, unauthorized copying of source code, bitcoins, and prevention of money laundering acts, denial of service, identity theft, net banking frauds, credit card frauds, phishing, cyber stalking, and cyber defamation, to name a few. Rajesh is a recipient of Cyber Suruksha Award in 2017 and has been recognized and awarded by various organizations such as the Telangana State Police, Maharashtra Judicial Academy, and an appreciation letter from the Deputy Commissioner of Police of Cybercrime. He is also the legal counsel for various MNCs related to information and information security. So with that, I would like to leave the stage to Rajas. Over to you. I think you just need to share your screen, Rajas, for your slides.
Yeah. So there's a problem, I think. Wait a second. I'm trying to share my screen.
What is it?
It's next to the microphone tab, right?
That's the one.
I'm not able to click that. Don't know why.
No?
No.
Which browser are you using?
Safari.
Do you have Chrome?
I have to download Chrome. I don't have Chrome.
Okay. But no, there's no issue with Safari because I'm also on Safari. You need to give permissions.
I did that.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah? Yep, it's on.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So stage is yours.
Yes. Am I audible to everyone?
Yep, yeah, audible.
Yes. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I think Aditya has already introduced me. I would just dive into the topic. So, today we are going to discuss cybersecurity and work from home. Yeah. So let me give you a background. Obviously, we all are going through COVID-19 pandemic, and it's a critical situation everywhere. So, which has ultimately forced every one of us to work from home, and accordingly, unfortunately, not many companies have changed their policies or the basic security measures which they have, or they have not informed their employees regarding cybersecurity awareness, what to do while working from home, how to work in a safe and secure environment as far as cybersecurity is concerned. Then I would really want to talk about the global legal implications of not following cybersecurity properly while working from home. Then legal implications in India. I would like to cover both scenarios, civil as well as the criminal part of it. and then right to privacy as far as the employee is concerned while working from home, whether that employee has a right to privacy or not. So I would consider the global scenario as well as the Indian scenario. First of all, my question to you would be, do you have a work from home policy in place? So I think many MNCs, they already have a work from home policies, but when it comes to small scale companies or the medium scale companies, I have seen this lethargic attitude that they absolutely do not have a work from home policy in place. So if yes, obviously it's good for you that you have a work from home policy, although you have a work from home policy in place, but it is not up to date when we consider today's context, because the work from home policy is not that comprehensive when we or the previous policies when we see it. Like if you don't have it in place, obviously you need to immediately draft a work from home policy by taking by asking your legal department and going forward with it. Now if you have a work from home policy in place right now, it needs to be revised, it needs to be comprehensive. So that work from home policy should consider the data privacy and confidentiality part of it. Then it should also consider information security policy in it. It should also incorporate information security aspects in it. Then you need to revise your client and customer agreements, because I would definitely explain it to you, explain this part to you as broadly as possible, because right now the client and customer agreements which the companies have, they need to revise it as far as when we consider data protection laws or reasonable security practices which we have to follow as far as the local law is concerned. So we need to revise, we need to seek consent from the customer that if I'm the owner of the company, that my employees are going to work from home, the data is going to flow from their network, and so if you're okay with it, we need to revise and we need to incorporate that part into the customer agreements. Then we need to revise the employment agreements as well, because those employment agreements do not cover or do not have any aspects of work from home, do not have any they do not consider the scenario of work from home, they do not consider the scenario of information security while working from home. We need to seriously take into consideration and revise the employment agreements as well. Now, what would be the basics of cybersecurity? I obviously wouldn't consider I wouldn't explain the technical part of it, because I think my colleagues before, they have already talked about the technical aspects of cybersecurity. But I want to I want to focus on the legal aspects of cybersecurity. So, what should a policy contain? It has to have network security, software security, portable media security, password security, email security, your web surfing security, and data protection. These are the basics of cyber security. Now let's come to the information security aspect of it. Okay, first would be where work happens, whether we are working from home or working remotely. Both things are completely different. If you're working from home, obviously you know the environment already, you know your infrastructure. If you're working from remotely from a different location altogether, you absolutely do not have idea about the infrastructure of that place, about the Wi-Fi which you are going to use, about how much secure it is, and so forth. Then what devices are used, whether you're using a personal device, whether you're using a device which was provided by your office or by your company. So we need to take that aspect into consideration as well. Accordingly, we need to draft the policy. So why specifically emphasize on this point is that if the device is personal one, then you need to have a very comprehensive policy as far as monitoring that device is concerned. Then what software and technology are used? Again, if the device is personal, then obviously you need to look at whether you're using a genuine Windows, where you're using a genuine licensed copy of the operating system or not. Because if you're not using a genuine copy, there are several complications that you won't receive the security updates and on time. You expose the company data, and it's a complete disaster. So from that angle also, the information security policy or work from home policy should consider this aspect. Then we talk about how data is stored, whether data is stored on that laptop or on that device itself, or whether data is stored on the cloud. It should also explain, or it should also have aspects of the aspects as far as the data storage is concerned. It should be there in that policy. Then reporting data breaches. Now many of the laws across the globe, let's take an example of GDPR. Obviously, if there is a data breach, you need to immediately inform that data breach. Now, consider a scenario wherein an employee is sitting at home, and he comes across a data breach scenario, and he or she is negligent, and because of that, the data breach has occurred. So he or she would be hesitant to report that data breach to the company immediately, because of the obvious reason that he might face termination or any other challenges. So he would be hesitant as far as informing that data breach is concerned. But at the same time, you need to inform the employees. Even if such scenario happens, they need to immediately inform the company rather than to hold back that information, because again it exposes the company for to big fines or big penalties as far as the GDPR or other data protection laws across the globe are concerned. Then as per the law, as far as Indian law is concerned, uh, it is mandatory for every company in India to do yearly assessments or yearly audits, security audits of their systems. But since the scenario has changed, everyone is working from home. I think the companies should take up that they should have monthly assessments as far as the security audit of that particular personal device or the company device is concerned, so as to secure their data properly. Then, then I would like to talk about what basic network security means, or what aspect of network security should the work from home policy should have. So, obviously, do not use unsecure or open Wi-Fi network for official purpose. Then change the default network name and password of your router login, and secure a Wi-Fi router connection by enabling WPA2 or WPA3 security standard. Connect to office network strictly through company provided VPN. Now, again, I have seen many employees not using VPN properly, or using the VPN even after work hours. So you need to obviously define that in the policy itself, and you need to check on the implementation part as well. Then software security would consider what to install and only have licensed software versions. See, if the office team or the office IT team has provided the laptop, obviously there is a nice amount of chance that that laptop would have a licensed copy of the antivirus. But if you're using your personal device, uh, obviously you couldn't deny this possibility that might contain a pirated version of Windows, or a pirated version of specific softwares which are being used to process data or to store data. And allow security updates to be installed when prompted by your system, and contact your IT team before installing any third party software, be it productivity tools or any other software. What not to install if the employee is using, I mean, it doesn't matter whether the employee is using office laptop or a personal laptop, but if the employee is downloading some illegal softwares, let's take an example of a torrent software. So if the employee is downloading, if the employee is downloading a torrent software, and so again there is a good amount of chance that a malware is getting installed on the system, or any viruses are getting downloaded on the system, and subsequently it exposes the entire company confidential data to the hackers. So you have to also ensure that you have good paid licensed version of the antivirus softwares. Now let's talk about portable media security. Now it's a very tricky situation when it comes to portable media. Let's take an example of a pen drive. Now normally companies would prohibit their employees using portable hard disk or portable like SD cards or pen drives on their systems. But when it comes to personal devices, it's a very tricky situation. You cannot completely prohibit that employee from using a personal pen drive or a USB drive on his personal device. So again, it exposes the company data to several several scenarios wherein the company data would be stolen, or the company data would be exposed to a malware which might get downloaded from the pen drive itself. So you need to consider that scenario, and you need to draft the policy in accordance with the best standards. As far as the password security is concerned, obviously use the complex passwords, the alphanumeric one, and use various symbols as well. But many of the employees I have seen in the banks also, they use very simple passwords where those passwords can be guessed, and the hacker can easily get access to the device. So this aspect should also be mentioned properly in the policy. I think the day before yesterday only, you might have heard, or you might have seen the news that many countries have issued advisories regarding phishing attacks, and the cyber criminals are obviously using this COVID-19 pandemic to their advantage. They are, the method remains the same as far as the phishing is concerned, but the context or the content of the email keeps on changing. So you need to aware your employees that even if they receive any unknown email from an unknown sender, never to open that email and never to download attachments. Let me give you an example of how these phishing scams actually have happened with many of my clients. There are two companies, A and B. So they both the companies are having business relationship with each other, and so some of their employees by mistake open an unknown email. Once both of their emails are compromised, the perpetrator or the cyber criminal would sit and observe what goes on, what are the dealings of the company, quite a while. Once they understand the pattern, what they would do is, it's basically a man in the middle attack. What they would do is, they would contact and communicate from both the ends. So once, if the A company has supplied some material to B company, and the B company is supposed to pay some amount to the A company, what these what these cyber criminals do is, they change the bank account details, but which are there in the invoice, and that's how the money is transferred. And obviously, it becomes very difficult for the law enforcement agencies also to recover that amount from the beneficiary bank account, because it crosses various borders. So there are various challenges as far as cross-border investigation is concerned, and the money is gone forever, because subsequently the money is transferred in several money mule accounts. So you need to you need to aware your employees of these phishing scams. You need to aware your employees of the latest trends which are there in the phishing. Now, the latest trend as far as the today's context is concerned is COVID-19 phishing scams. That, let's take an example of free vaccines. The subject line would contain a free vaccine or free testing booths, and once you open that email, again there is a chance a malware can get installed on the system. So awareness is very important. Now, again, this is a very challenging part, that as far as an office laptop is concerned, you can put several restrictions. But when it comes to using a personal device, because when I see MNCs, they provide their own laptops, but when we talk about small to medium scale companies, uh, they have a bring your own device kind of a policy in place. So they also have a very, I mean, the chances of their data being leaked or the chances of their data being hacked considerably increases, because when it comes to the personal device, you can't actually restrict a person from using several websites, or you can't restrict that person from using whatever he wants to serve, right? So you have, it becomes a very tricky situation as far as use of personal device is concerned. So when we talk about data protection, there are several laws also which come into place. Let's take an example of GDPR. Uh, Even if you're working from home, GDPR applies, by the way, or the local data protection law applies. So obviously, it is very difficult to have the same level of information security infrastructure in place when you work from home. But at least you can try a little bit. You can tweak between the policies. You can talk with your employee, and you can at least expect them to follow basic security standards which are there to avoid uh, data leak or to avoid being a victim of these phishing scams. Now, why I specifically talked about cybersecurity awareness is, like Mr. Bipin Kulkarni also explained, that yes, the first level of security is that employee. If you aware that employee that these are the current trends, this is what's been happening, and these are simple follow basic tips to follow, then obviously you can avoid that scam or avoid being a victim of the phishing scam then and there itself, if the employee is aware enough. Now let's talk about legal implications in India. So as far as Indian scenario is concerned, we don't have any data protection legislation as of now. But when we talk about data protection, there are several provisions under Information Technology Act which covers data protection aspect of it. Let's talk about Section 43A. So Section 43A of Information Technology Act specifically explains that if you are storing, processing, or transmitting any sensitive personal data of a person, you need to follow reasonable security practices. Now, these reasonable security practices doesn't only restrict that employer to implement those practices in his office. Now, since everyone is working from home, those reasonable security practices also apply when an employee is working from home. If that employee is not following these reasonable security practices, you again expose that company to a lawsuit, because tomorrow if there is a data breach and the customer data is gone, then the customer would have a logical a proper case against your company because of the actions of that employee. So you need to understand one thing, that your new work from home policies should also have the aspect, or should also incorporate the aspect of Information Technology Act as far as the Indian part is concerned or the Indian scenario is concerned. Then this law provides for civil liability. So if the company, I mean, if you have caused wrongful loss to someone because of the data breach, that company can sue you for the unlimited amount. There is no cap as far as the amount of loss is concerned. So you need to take it very seriously. Let's talk about criminal liability as far as the Indian scenario is concerned. If the employee is negligent in following the reasonable security practices, the employer would also be liable for the actions of employee. There is specific section under Information Technology Act, Section 85 to be precise, which talks about offenses by companies. So if that employee is negligent, and the employer is also negligent in following reasonable security practices as far as these work from home policies are concerned, if that employer is not implementing information security policy, the work from home policy, then that employer would also become liable for the criminal action. For example, if that employee has taken data from the company server and he has taken data and sold it to some other company. Subsequently, if that employer has not taken precautions, has not taken or has not implemented reasonable security practices, then he exposes himself to criminal liability also. Now, what would be the global legal implications? As I said, as far as GDPR is concerned, each and every big company who has offices in multiple jurisdictions and who are basically processing data of European citizens, they have to follow GDPR. So it goes for every company who is processing that specific data. So due to COVID-19 outbreak, there are several advisories, there are several notifications which are issued by the various regulatory bodies in the EU, which talk about COVID-19 outbreak and how you can safeguard yourself and how you can still comply with GDPR. So it doesn't absolve you from liability if a company, if an employee is working from home, and you can't just take that defense that, okay, because of the scenarios, the employee was working from home and that's why we couldn't protect the data properly. But you have to follow GDPR regardless whether the company, whether the employee is working from home or working from office. The law applies equally in both scenarios. So you need to, as far as GDPR is concerned, you need to update the risk assessment. You need to be implementing appropriate security measures in place, as we discussed. Then you need to have, if the employee is using their own device, then you need to have a comprehensive policy as far as the use of personal device for processing or for storing company confidential data is concerned. So let me talk to you about the other aspect of it, which is right to privacy. So this right to privacy is considering the employee here. So okay, the jurisdiction, obviously the jurisprudence around this area has not evolved in India yet. So we don't have a specific privacy law in place as far as the Indian scenario is concerned. But in the UK or in other European countries, the courts have already ruled that yes, you need to draw a line, and as far as as far as personal privacy of the employee is concerned, and if you're monitoring that employee, you need to follow certain guidelines, you need to respect their privacy, and then you need to monitor what goes on into their system. So you need to have a policy in place for this also. So if you have any specific questions, I think I would be more than happy to address those questions.
Hi, Rajesh. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. Hi. So thank you so much. I think what you actually covered and gave it a big difference was the legal aspects of cybersecurity and the policies and what they need to be, how they need to be implemented. Because a lot of our previous speakers, the technical aspects of it and how you implement the technology and all of that and overall package. So you spoke about a very interesting aspect about the legal side of it and what policies need to be put in place to protect your organization legally. So I'm going to open up the floor to questions from the audience. So, okay, someone's asked, have you prosecuted anyone for violating privacy protection?
Yes. See, as I told you that in India, we don't have any specific privacy legislation in place, but the Supreme Court of India has ruled that you need to, the right to privacy is embedded in the Constitution itself. So as per that, you have a right to privacy, and if someone is invading that right to privacy as per the guidelines given by the Supreme Court, then yes, you can go ahead and sue the employer or the person who is invading your privacy. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Let's take next question. Any other questions, guys? Okay, Rajesh, I don't think we have any other questions. A lot of them saying nice session. Thanks for covering legal aspects of work from home. More appreciation, comments, and questions.
Thank
So
you.
I
Thank you
think
so
that
much, Aditya, for inviting me.
thank you so much for accommodating this slight change in schedule. I know it was
My pleasure. My
last minute.
pleasure. It's perfectly
Okay.
fine. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. We were happy to have you and hear your views on such an important subject.
Thank you.